everybody. This is Lorraine.
And Jennifer.
And this morning, I'm going to start with Google, are you kidding me?
I'm going through grief over this. Like, I've known about it since 2020, and I just want to complain. And I'm a positive person. I'm a positive person.
Okay, so on that note, if we haven't terrified you yet, if you're listening, go ahead and say hello in the chat. We love to know who's watching. Today, we're going to take on the subject of the changes to Google Analytics. And honestly, there she is. That's Jen Zare.
This is my baby. I've spent my entire career understanding Google Analytics and how to explain it to people. And it's complicated and it's overwhelming. And so now here we go again.
Okay, so for the average business owner, because I'm never going to dive into it the way you do. I mean, I do dive into my analytics. I have the numbers that I have come to trust and I look at consistently. And the beautiful thing is data going back 20 years, except going away.
17 years is how long this has been. So here's what's happening. We have till July 1st of 2023 that you can continue to use Google Analytics as you see it right now. However, after July 1st of 2023, and it seems like, oh my God, I got a whole year. That's great. But we're wiping out 17 years of data. You'll be able to access any previously processed data in your current Google Analytics property for at least 6 months. But this is just the part I just want to flip my computer over. Okay, we're gonna just delete all that data, and you got to start from day one with this brand new data. In the coming months, they'll let us know some additional information. After this future date, you'll no longer be able to see it. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Google. You are not a nice person.
No. So as a business owner, because Google is moving to this new style of analytics. Mm-hmm. So my first question is, how soon should I say to Google, yeah, go ahead, make the switch, sign up? Because when I do that, I'll still have the old data until 23. But how soon should I start making the migration?
October of 2020.
Okay.
Today. It's not that hard to take the actual piece of code and add it to the website. And you can run both of them at the same time. Okay. So, yeah.
Well, that's good, because I know that I've run into situations, especially like when we've taken over websites from other companies, where there was Google Analytics running, and then we tried to lay in a second Google Analytics, and the system kind of went, no, you got two Googles going. But for this, you can get away with, you can run you can run Google 4 and Universal.
Same time.
So action number 1, tell your webmaster today to add the code for Google 4 and start collecting that new data.
Yeah. Start getting the new data, because historical data year over year, like we've talked about in other ones, you need that information. Google has a whole checklist that they have come up with that you need to go through. That's your data webmaster's person's job, is they need to go and make sure they have it all set up. But you need to do it, though, as a business owner. You need to be tapping them on the shoulder. Now, we did it as an agency back in 2020. Mm-hmm. So we actually went through all of our clients, and as we were onboarding people, we already added it. We got certified in G4, so we know all about it. I just was hoping it didn't happen, but it is.
Okay, so now as I'm getting this new data, let's talk about, will there be new information that I haven't had before? Is there information that I love that I'm not going to be able to get anymore?
Yes.
What's
and
going
yes.
on?
Yes and yes.
All right. So let's do the good stuff first. What am I going to have that I've never had before, or in a better way?
It depends on your opinion on machine learning. So Google is very much pushing how this is going to be machine learning, but that means Google has all the information, and I no longer, as the data analyst, have all the particular levers to understand that machine learning. So I feel like it's hiding a lot of stuff. Google's like, oh, it's much better. It's going to be machine learning, but Google also makes all their money off their ads, but okay.
All right. So there is machine learning in and analyzing the data. So
Mhm.
there'll be more of, and I've already seen this in some of my screens on Google, where there's some higher level reports that when you log in, they're like, oh, here's this information. And you're like, the average business owner is going to go, oh, that's nice. I never knew that before. That information was always there, but you had to dig for it. But then when I'm like, okay, well, that's nice, but I'd really like to see the data this way. What I'm hearing you say is it's going to be harder to get to the this way. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, there's like certain metrics like bounce rate is going to go away. And so, they're going to wrap it up in engagement, but they might not tell us exactly what the engagement means. I'll simplify that though. If this is what Google feels about my website and Google's the number one search engine, everybody's going to Google, then I care what their metrics are telling me.
absolutely. And honestly, I think, when you talk about the bounce rate, I've always had mixed feelings on that because um, depending on the information on a particular page, you can grab it really fast and get on with your life. And that bounce is not telling me that the user is leaving unhappy. If they came to the website to get my phone number, to find out
Yeah,
if I was, to find out if I sold a product, and they got the information that they needed,
right.
that was a win. And that's unfortunate that Google, the bounce rate kind of hid that. So, all right, I don't mind that bounce is going away.
Yeah, but like we just did like a big recon of this, and there are a lot of tools that integrated like platforms, that people use, like softwares to book appointments and to track phone calls and things like that. None of those have updated as of a month ago. So
Mm.
all those softwares need to update, and then like you get into the conversion tracking. So knowing whether or not your website actually is doing what you want it to do, all has to be reset. So that is a lot of work. And it's like there's just like already lots of work in digital marketing, and business owners need to understand how much additional work this is going to be and be patient and know that as long as your agency has like or yourself have a plan on how to switch this over. I'm not normal. I like I like all this stuff, and like so I'll geek out about it, but most business owners are just going to be like, am I making sales or not? So
Yeah, and I find that a lot, even because I teach basic analytics classes. I want business owners to understand top level. How much traffic are you getting? Where is it coming from? And what do people do when they get to your website? And really simple stuff. And I'm still amazed at how many business owners tell me, oh, I've never looked at that, or I didn't know where to go for that. And so
but
I,
it's not
I
just business owners, it's the industry as a whole. There is a shortage of people that understand the data aspect of marketing,
Mhm,
and because it's two different sides of your brain.
mhm. But
And
yeah, but the thing is that if you do marketing and you're not paying attention to the data, what you're up with is award-winning advertising that doesn't actually sell product. It's funny, it's clever, and you're like, oh, that was a great campaign. But at the end of the day, if that campaign is not driving people to your website, driving them to the right pages, and getting those people to take actions, and
If
the
you
data
don't,
is,
yeah, if you don't understand where it's back to conversion rate optimization. If you don't understand where in the funnel it's broke, or you don't understand that
Mhm.
people go through a funnel when they interact with both offline and online and blah 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 blah, like then you're not, I don't know. But privacy focused, here we go again, hearing this like we're all about privacy.
Mhm.
um I'm gonna call it BS, but that's just me.
Well, but I think the other thing that the other piece of that, the second half of that sentence, durable for the future. On the one hand, I'm grumpy because Google is changing. But Google is changing after 17 years. So as an
Mhm.
industry, yes, the tool evolved over the time, but honestly, they've kept it pretty constant for 17 years. And so if they're making this kind of change, my expectation from Google is that it'll be stable for a while. And let me just put one thing out there. Love it, hate it. Google Analytics for the average business owner is free.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I remember before GA, we had, webmaster tools.
Ukraine, Ukraine.
Ukraine, we had one called Web Stats, and you
Yeah,
paid for it. If you wanted to know what your website was doing, if you wanted to know where your traffic was coming from, what kind of traffic you were getting, you were paying for the data. So,
but that's where the Google is going to try to sell. So there's a whole nother Google Analytics out there that a lot of people don't know, and that one cost $100,000. It's just chump change. And I just want to bring up, like, what the industry is in uproar over this. Like, Barry Schwartz is, like, very well known, and he just quite blank, I refuse. There are a lot of people are just like, I'm not doing it. I mean, I think they're gonna have to do it. I think Joe Youngblood makes a very good point. It's just, I'm fine with you moving over, but deleting all prior Google Analytics data and not providing a historical view of G4 and merging that data in is just completely unacceptable in my mind that Google would do that. It's just like wiping history.
mhm. Well, and so eh, in a way, that's spitting in the ocean. It makes you feel good, but the ocean doesn't notice. And
That's true.
so the truth is, if you are a business owner, you have to do two things. Number one, you need to start running the new Google Analytics as soon as possible. And
Yeah.
number two, you need to have a plan to back up your historical data. My recommendation would be that's a great January 1st activity. January 1st, 2023, go ahead and download all your data so you'll have the full year,
Yep.
and you will also have 6 months worth of G4 running. You'll still be able to compare the two for about a year. And then when you goes away, you will have a year's worth of data.
Yeah, and with GDPR, if you're not familiar with that, in a lot of areas where, like, you have to be able to get rid of your data. So this is kind of coming anyways, that you're going to have to download data and save it somewhere else and yada yada. It's just the world's changing. I know I'm being like crabby old, 43-year-old, but
You know what?
this world is not easy.
And last time I looked, the world was not asking my opinion. Now I know that's a mistake, and they could be, but they're not, and they're not asking yours. So what I'm going to say is, at this point, number one, we're going to have some additional tutorials in the toolbox coming up soon, but before July 23rd. I'm sorry, before July of this year. So you'll have a whole year to get started.
There you go.
And then if you're looking at this going, I don't want to do it, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, there she is. Yeah, she is. I always forget the side you're on
I
because
I think we need a live training. I think this is going to require people asking lots of questions and not understanding this and that. I'll be happy to make a training on the digital toolbox to walk you through it. And there's lots of help documents, but for a lot of people, it's foreign language. So yeah, you either want somebody just to, hey, go do it for me, or I think maybe there's a live in-person training for this coming up.
I think there's definitely a training coming up. And then I also think that if you look at it and you're like, I just don't want to deal with it, then your homework is either get a hold of Jen or get a hold of your web host and talk to them about making the change.
All right.
We'll see you
Bye,
guys later.
guys.
Bye.